Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Nerd Switch podcast. My name is Dylan, and joining me once again today is my good friend and fellow zombie slayer, Jeremiah.
Hello, everyone. We're at 25, and we have killed so many zombies now, haven't we?
So many. 25. We only got 75 more to go.
Woohoo!
Well, I mean, we'll keep doing episodes after that, hopefully. But
75 to reach the 100 goal.
Yeah. So, before we dive into the topic today, my friend, how you doing?
Been hanging in there for sure. I had a good day yesterday, and today's been so-so.
Yeah. How's the old kidney stone?
Trying to still pass.
I still laugh because when we were at work and I sent you the Greek line.
the speak Latin and tell it to go away.
Yeah, I messaged him and I'm like, just say this in Latin. I expel you, vile kidney stone. And then I Google translated it. And it didn't work. So, you know, my self-remedy medical career is not off to a good start. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. We didn't record last weekend. So, I mean, what have you been up to? Like, what are you playing?
Well, after my medical issues were bypassed a bit, and I was able to actually relax, I caught up finally on. I finished Dead Island 2. That was like my first goal, to finish it. Then my medical issues started.
Yeah.
As Star Wars Jedi Survival came out, so I've been attempting to play that here and there.
Yeah, you've been surviving something else, huh?
I've been having my own survival. And then when I'm just too tired to game, I've been jumping on watching one of my old favorite shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay.
So that's been a lot of fun.
Nice. No Destiny 2, hopefully.
No, I still play that occasionally. They're at least it's like slowed down because I've caught up and there's not much to do right now.
You know, maybe Destiny 2 is why you get kidney stones.
I wouldn't be surprised. It could add to its list of terrible things.
Yeah, myself, I was on a bit of a movie binge because, I mean, for those who don't know, I recorded an episode on the We Love Horror podcast talking about our favorite horror movies involving the occult, so I was going through a ton.
I would have been a part of that.
I know, and we did miss you because, like, as soon as we started talking about Empty Man, we both just started, like, gushing about the movie, and I'm like...
It's so good. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, check that out if you're interested. He's just on Instagram at the We Love Horror podcast, or We Love Horror with underscores, one of those.
I'm pretty sure I'm following that actually.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I've been watching some movies, playing some games. I also played Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but I was not afflicted by kidney stones, so I was able to complete it.
Good for you.
And then I actually started and finished a game last night, which I was very pleasantly surprised by, called Bramble and the Mountain King. Kind of another indie game. I don't know if you remember when we talked about our top 10 games of last year, but every year I go out of my way to play 2 or 3 indie titles because usually one of them makes it onto my list, and we have a winner.
It's what I think it is. I've heard a few things for it that looked really good.
It's really similar to Little Nightmares, but it's based around Nordic folklore and fairy tales.
Yeah, I have been seeing a lot of people playing this.
It's been
recently.
on TikTok.
Yeah, I've been seeing quite a few people playing it. Looks pretty trippy. Really
good. It's a short and sweet 3 to 4 hour game, but I really enjoyed it. Brianna watched me play it last night too, and it's it starts off really lovely and pretty, but it's a deceptively dark and disturbing game. So yeah, small tangent aside, that'll definitely come up later this year at some point. But yeah, really good game. Other than that, not too much. Haven't gone to the theater other than when me and Brianna did see Sisu, which was good. Guardians is out. I'll see it at some point, probably. This is probably the only Marvel movie I actually want to see this year.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, with that, so what are we doing today?
We're killing zombies.
We're killing zombies. We got another zombie game. That's right. Totally original zombie game. Never been done before.
Totally original.
So Dead Island 2, the follow-up to, well, Dead Island 1.
Dead Island Riptide.
Yeah.
Still never touched Riptide. It's great.
I hardly played either of them. I think my friend got Dead Island, and I played it a little bit, and I thought it was fun, but...
See, that Dead Island was my good intro before Dying Light, or yes, before Dying Light, because I played it on 360.
Yeah.
And then I got the PS4 and then played Dying Light. So Dead Island was one of my other main zombie games I played, and I actually played quite a lot of the first one.
Yeah.
I've replayed it quite a few times. I had really fun characters. I had friends that gave me modded weapons, so I always had fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, oh man. Getting into Dead Island 2, I mean, this game was announced clear back in 2014, so it's
so old.
It's easily been in development for over 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were, not even sure this game was going to come out because it got hit by so many delays, and there was at one point, it wasn't a full-on cancellation, but
almost
an indefinite delay. They're like, it's delayed until we say it's not.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, once upon a time, it made it through, it's here, it's out, and we get to talk about it. So, I guess that brings the big question is, was the 10-year wait worth? Is the game good? Does it live up to the hype? And we're going to break it down and talk about it. So with that, let's go ahead and flip the switch and dive into our Dead Island 2 review.
I don't know a song for this, so I'm just going to sound like a zombie.
And you killing zombies in California. Bam, 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 bam. I don't think I can get copyrighted for that, but
I don't know. I don't think we're good.
Killing zombie. Yeah, so Dead Island 2. I honestly getting the game. I initially didn't expect to really enjoy it. I mean, the announcement trailer is still really good, and I did watch the recent gameplay kind of in the leading weeks to the release, and, I was actually it looked good. The gameplay looked like it was actually pretty fun.
I only got this because we were going to do the review for it, and you wanted to play co-op.
I told you, we got to play co-op. Come on. But yeah, so we picked it up. We're just going to review it. We're going to follow the same structure we do for video game reviews. So starting off with the story, world, and characters, then moving on to gameplay, audio, visuals, and performance before getting to our final verdict and a short spoiler discussion. So with that, let's dive into the story, world, and characters. And yeah, the story, I mean, it's a zombie game.
It's pretty basic, for sure.
At this point in time, if you're not The Last of Us, you're probably not doing anything revolutionary with a zombie video game, although there are other good ones. But
the intro for this, too, is super just rushed.
Yeah.
As soon as you're picking your character's already, trying to escape. It's already happened. Breakouts everywhere.
I did like the opening, the whole sequence with the them getting on a plane and the plane crash. It is fairly standard, but it was still a fun way.
The few of survivors surviving a plane crash though.
Right, and this is definitely not a serious zombie game.
No, this is my fun arcade zombie game.
This is arcadey slapstick humor based zombie game, very much like Dead Rising.
Yep.
But yeah, the story itself, what I noted down is the story is serviceable but not particularly strong, which it does seem to be a common theme for the more generic zombie titles. It's not outright bad, but it's not particularly memorable. I was intrigued enough to keep going, and I liked its progression from location to location and the people you meet. It was all perfectly fine. It's just I'm not gonna remember it probably a year from now.
See, that's how I kind of was with throughout playing this as well. I would look back on the first Dead Island And I kind of liked a little bit more from Dead Island's one aspect on how they told the story.
Yeah.
I feel like I was actually enjoying talking with like some of the side characters. In this one, I feel like I was just like, okay, hurry up, let's go.
Yeah.
Give me my quest.
let me kill some zombies.
Let me go kill some zombies. I already know what you want me to do. You want me to do some random task, kill some zombies in the process.
Yeah, it's by no means revolutionary, but
I like some of the fun ones though.
Yeah,
like, there are some fun side quests,
Yeah.
and that's what I enjoy.
Serviceable, but not great.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you compare to like other titles in the same field, like I don't know, I think what's it called again? Dying Light.
Yeah.
Dying Light, I think, takes a more serious approach to the story, but it still has fun with itself. But I do like the story more. Do like the story more for Dying Light 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I still rope them all together because like none of them are particularly great.
Yeah. I could definitely say like Dying Light still has like a higher tier level for me.
Yeah.
Just with like movement, the capabilities. I loved the world for the first one. The world was great. It was massive. These ones, like in this world for Dead Island 2, I liked LA. I actually really enjoyed LA way better than the first one.
Yeah.
Because the first one's just this like foreign country that's totally made up. But like seeing this one, I'm seeing places that I could actually go to LA and see. You know, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. At least in the first one, it was actually an island.
Yeah. Little Bahamas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. It's fine. We'll get a bit more into the like environment and stuff once we get over to the world part, but I don't know, story-wise, like it's just solid. Other stuff too, like Dying Light 1 I think has a way better story than 2. I don't know. 2 got a little weird. But.
2 got a little for sure.
But yeah, let's shift over to the world itself and the environment. So the game does indeed take place in California, particularly Los Angeles. It's fun because you move around some key environments, and I loved entering a new area and having the big prompt show up, like Venice Beach or L.A., Bel Air.
Beverly Hills. Every time that came up, I was just like, Beverly Hills.
I remember when we were playing co-op, and as soon as that popped up, we were both on the same page there.
Both singing that.
Same thing with Bel Air. As soon as we got there at the opening, I'm like, no, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and killing zombies. So the environments are a lot of fun. I mean, it's fairly standard, but like, it's detailed enough to where it was fun to navigate. Like some standouts for me was like getting to Bel Air initially and going through the big fancy homes that have just kind of been like broken into and dilapidated, but it still looks like colorful and like visually pleasing.
Yeah, all the destroyed areas, all the pools that are like destroyed.
Yeah.
Weirdest thing, no pool is like full.
Yeah.
All of them are drained. Where'd the water go?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they had water like a few days ago before the zombie apocalypse.
They had to turn off the pool pumps and it evaporated, baby. I don't know. Although the breakout happened like very soon after they got there, so yeah.
Exactly.
Because the whole thing with Dying Light is it doesn't seem to be like one whole world spanning thing. It's more like a outbreak happened here, now there's an outbreak happening here kind of thing.
Dying Light, it definitely kind of spread it out, and then like in the second one, it's been many years.
Yeah.
So then it's the whole world. Whereas Dead Island, the first one, it's the island, it's slowly spreading, and then going to Dead Island 2, it's LA that's hit by that virus.
Yeah.
And it's supposedly it's like originating in this spot location. Like this is it starting here.
Yeah. Well, I think the first Dead Island canonically did happen before this one. So like there, because remember the one guy that
Sam
shows up was talking about it.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just another side note with the world itself, like you get some classic zombie known locales like abandoned hotels, a sewer, You know what
would have been really funny is because it is LA. If there had been like celeb zombies, like really well known names, because then I would have loved to have seen like a Zombieland movie reference. So then you go to like the Hollywood homes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you could find like how they did like Bill Murray's mansion. They could have done like Bob Marley's mansion.
Oh my God! It's Wayne the Rock Johnson.
That would have been hilarious to see him as like a brute.
Die, bitch. Yeah, no, that would have been fun for sure. Yeah. Anything else you want to add as far as like the world and the environments?
World-wise, I really was enjoying, like I said, I was really enjoying the idea of it being like known locations
Mm-hmm.
and getting to go through like all the buildings, the rich people homes, just all the random stuff that they do throw in there too. I thought it was really cool. They had like construction zones for homes being built. The roads weren't too bad. I kind of like how, because like Dying Light's super open world.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this one, it is very linear road path. You may be able to go through a house here that might connect to another area.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid between a linear game and like a semi-open world, because you do get some areas that are definitely like bigger and more explorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like how it approached it. It's just fun, you know. You get some fun locations, some fun characters, which we'll dive into next because you know characters, which again, you know, generic zombie game, not the best for its characters. Although, I do like, you know, the characters you're introduced to that you get to pick and choose from, like who you're going to play as.
Yeah.
I do like the setup for that, although it did not take long for me to regret my choice.
Yep, this is true. I was like watching videos and like, who's the good character to pick?
Yeah.
And some people would do reviews for like, well, you got to make sure you want to stick with whoever you're going to be with, because you're going to be with them the entire game, and they can get annoying.
Yeah, me and Moist Critical both picked Danny, the like Scottish girl who talks a lot.
Fucking Latin.
And I mean, I liked her for the most of it. Like, she was a fun character, but there's definitely some points where she's like just commenting on everything, and I'm just like, just stop.
Yeah, I picked, for my character, I picked Amy, and I actually liked her character. I thought it was a very interesting character. I loved that she was able to make, because she has a prosthetic leg, and she's like an athlete, you know. And I loved she would make puns about her own leg being gone.
Yeah. No, there's definitely some good dialogue. Like, it was just fun to see the characters interact, especially like the characters you meet throughout, like the initial ones in, was it still Bel Air when you meet Emma Gaunt and like go in her mansion, or?
Yeah, because it was like that was like the first area.
Okay. But yeah, you meet this like actress who's like famous or whatever, and she has a little commune of people surviving with her, and you interact with them. And like the characters are pretty fun. I still don't think they're like super memorable, but you know, it was fun to have the dialogue.
It was mainly like some of the side characters that are like fun. That's what I actually enjoy, is finding fun side characters.
What was the band you run into? It's like Whiskey and Death or something.
Yeah.
It's like two just former band members that are like
super
drunk.
old the guy is the rock member, and then that's just his the wife, and you help out the daughter to help out the mom, and then you help him a lot, and he's just speedoing, wearing a leather coat on that's all got the old rocker sunglasses, hair pulled back,
just super wasted all the time.
He was super wasted.
I like the dialogue with him where he's like trying to get you to find his album or whatever, because they want to make a new album, and you go through the whole dialogue, you're like, all right, I'll go find the album, and he's like, oh, you know, it'd be so great if someone would go find the album. And I'm like,
every time too you're talking to him, he's like, oh, I should go get my friends over there and go get my guitar, and then my character's just like, no, you're staying here. I'll go.
Yeah.
And then you go and get it for him, and he's like, oh, cool, I was hoping I'd get this.
I was just thinking about going to get that. Yeah, there are some fun characters. And, like, the dude you meet in the sewer who's, like, a mega fan of Emma John. Who's, like, a recluse. And there's some good stuff. Good stuff for sure.
There's also, like, I think it's in Bel Air or Beverly Hills. I think it's Beverly Hills. There's like this house that's gated, and it's like all closed off. And at first it's empty, but later you come back and there's some weird artist there.
Oh yeah,
that she's wanting you to go collect zombie parts so she can paint with them, and she's such a weird character.
Right. Yeah, I mean, outside of the side characters and the characters you pick to choose from, like, the variation's pretty good. I don't remember exactly how many you can choose from at the start, but...
There's quite a few. There's at least over 5.
Yeah, I almost want to say, like, 6 or 8.
Yeah. There's quite a few. I'm going to go with that.
They all seem pretty fun, and the game does allow you to do, like, the Destiny thing, where you can start a new playthrough with a different character.
Yeah.
I don't really see the point to doing so other than getting the dialogue out of them. I mean, they do have different, like, attributes.
Supposedly is, like... Because supposedly all the abilities are the same.
Yeah.
However, the way you unlock them first changes.
Yeah.
Then it's there are some skill cards that are only specific to those characters.
Yeah.
So, like, I have Amy, so I forget his name, but it was another dude that you can pick.
The firefighter stripper?
No, it is like, kind of like, I kind of want to call him not really a nerd, but he was, it was like, started with a B.
I don't know.
I can't remember the name. Might have been Bruno, but I don't know if that's it or not.
I don't know.
But one of the characters you could pick, him and Amy have the same card.
Okay.
And I only ever saw one card. So I guess each character gets one card. And those cards are for 2 characters.
Yeah. And I know, like, they have different attribute adjustments. Like,
Yeah.
The character I picked, Danny, she was, like, super high on endurance or stamina.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then Amy, she had the high agility, which...
Yeah.
Terrible pick, by the way. Apparently, agility only affects your walking speed.
Oh. Yeah, no, I think stamina is probably the way to go, but only pick it if you're willing to deal with Danny's dialogue for like 20 hours. But yeah, characters aside, we can shift up to the next category, which is probably the one people care about most for this kind of game, and that is the gameplay. So the gameplay itself is for sure the strongest aspect of Dead Island 2. Like, its combat is melee focused with a touch of gunplay, and I found it to be fairly average, but there are some aspects that elevate it above some other titles in the same genre. Like, you're not getting the most revolutionary melee combat. I mean, even just Dying Light alone probably does it better as far as the abilities you get and all that stuff, but the game does give you a lot. Like, there's a really healthy weapon variety.
I thought they did a pretty good job. A lot of the weapons, from blunt to sharp weapons, the difference between like a knife or a sword, the machete. I still think it's weird how they rank weapon like damage and durability.
Yeah.
For like a baseball bat does less damage than a kitchen knife. You know.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
You can't stab a zombie in the head with a baseball bat.
No, you can't, but I can take out its legs, and it ain't going anywhere now.
Yeah, but, like, the weapons themselves are good. The guns I enjoyed. Like, the gunplay isn't crazy good, but...
There's not too many, because you've got 2 pistol types, 2 assault rifle types.
I think there was actually 3, if you count the revolver, and you can unlock, like, a...
Well, the revolver is actually its own type.
Oh, okay.
The revolver counts as a heavy ammo.
Oh.
It doesn't use pistol. So pistol ammo, it uses 2 guns. The assault rifles, I think there's only the 2, because you have a burst fire weapon and then a single fire weapon. I typically use the single fire because it actually was really good. Then you've got 3 types of shotgun. 2 of them are basically the same. Is because then that brings up like a whole other topic of how like there's all different perks for weapons.
Right.
But in this case, there's the 3 shotguns. You have the 2 that are standard like pump shotguns, but one is tactical and one is demolition.
Yeah.
Then you've got a sawed-off, so that's the 3rd shotgun. Then you've got the 2 heavy weapons, the revolver and the hunting rifle.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably what I used most was the hunting rifle.
When I got a hunting rifle, oh boy, I was having so much fun with that thing. That thing was awesome.
Yeah, but just like there's a really good variety of weapons and they have different uses, and there's some fun stuff they do with a crafting system which allows you to adjust how the weapon is used. Mainly like elemental damage.
Elemental or like extra physical.
Yeah, you can increase like the blunt damage, and you can have it like give certain status effects like
bleed
or weakened or something like that.
For most of it was like bleed and vulnerable, so you could do more damage to them. And then I loved a lot of the status effects and like the blueprints and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed the crafting. Like the elementals, you only get electrical, fire, and caustic, which is like poison.
Yep.
No cryo.
I know, I was so sad about that. I was so hoping to.
Yeah, freeze does. Oh, that'd be sick though if you could like freeze a zombie and charge a heavy attack and just like break the head.
Break him apart. Yeah, see, that's what I was hoping for. I was really hoping. Like another kind of thing we also got with the weapons and stuff is our curveballs.
Yeah,
those things were I loved those idea they had for those.
Yeah, just it's almost like Destiny. Like why am I talking about Destiny? You know Destiny's grenade system where it's like the grenade just recharges and you can throw it eventually. That's what they did with the curveballs.
I thought that was great because typically in games like this you don't get that. It's a consumable item. You have to craft a bunch. You have to throw them. But no, it's just got a recharge timer.
Yeah, and you can equip 2 curveballs. I think I was running for a pretty long time just with a Molotov and a heavy grenade.
I actually, at first I got was the Ninja Star. That's the first one you get. I used that for quite a while, but then I didn't use the bait. I actually used the water one, where it makes them soaking wet and dizzy. Mm-hmm. I loved that one because it staggered every enemy. Yeah. And then I would once I got the electric Ninja Star, that thing, the electric shuriken.
See, that would combo.
It comboed, and it was so great. But then eventually I got the pipe bomb. And all I had to do was then stagger them and then throw my pipe bomb right at them. They can't move. They can't run away from a pipe bomb.
It's like the end of that Harry Potter puppet sketch thing.
I found the source of the ticking. It was a pipe bomb. Yay.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I mean, weapons aside, there is also a lot of environmental stuff you can do that's fun. So you get a lot of fun just by using the environment with like electrocuting pools of water and puddles, lighting fuel on fire, dispensing fuel.
Can I have those in real life? Because they seemed unlimited until they broke.
Yeah, that gas can would be the most valuable thing on this planet. Just infinitely pour gas out. But yeah, they were great. One of my favorite moments in the game, I think it was on a side quest for the Death and Whiskey or whatever. But there's a part upstairs where you get to this like room that has a glass wall, and outside on the balcony there's just a group of zombies like hitting on the glass wall waiting to get in. But you have a gas can on the inside, so what I did is I poured gas around the whole inside of the wall and then broke the window and let them walk into the fire, and it's just like, I love that the game lets you set stuff like that up.
Yeah, that was really fun. Little traps like that are great to have.
Or like running and just jump kicking a zombie into a pool and then throwing an electric ninja star in there.
I loved how you could also there's spots on houses that you could turn on the hose or the sprinklers. Yeah. And then all of the grass area just becomes an electric pool. Right. I loved all that stuff. That was really cool. Yeah, I love how the environment affected as a weapon as well. Yeah. I thought that was great.
It definitely went a long way to making the gameplay fun, for sure. And just chucking a battery at a zombie.
Yeah, you get batteries from cars that you can pull out, and you just, they're unlimited. You can just keep picking it up once it stops the electric discharge. Right. Just throw it again.
And then another key aspect to the gameplay is the skills and upgrades, which we talked about a little bit but didn't expand too much on. But the game uses a kind of card system, like skill cards, where you're equipping cards kind of like Battlefront 2, the new Battlefront 2, where you like equip a card that gives you a certain effect or whatever. Very much what this game is doing, and there's some fun stuff you can do for sure, like AoE attack that you can use, and like increasing damage to certain kinds of attacks.
And see, like, I'm okay with the card system. I like that. It's a very interesting way of rather doing a skill tree. You get cards. And then you get to just choose what cards you want.
Yeah.
The one flaw I always have with this is that you only get like one card to start with.
Yeah.
And then you have to build up your collection. You have to unlock them a bunch of ways. And it's then, at the very end, when you're literally about to finish the game, you're like, I'm so strong now. Oh, game's over.
Yeah.
Gotta do it all over again now. At least I'm stronger.
Yeah, there's still like end game stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, like, I did enjoy it. And, like, the abilities I thought was really cool, too. Like, unlocking them. Because at first, when you and I started playing and you had unlocked your jump kick, I kept saying, I was like, how come you can kick him so far? Why is yours better?
Yeah, it is cool because like you can stack it a certain way where like some abilities will make others stronger.
I do like that. Yeah, I was liking how, because like for me, I had like a standard kick at first.
Yeah.
All I did was jump and I kicked.
Yeah.
I didn't get to send them flying. But however, I found like several cards that like apply weakness, more damage. You can stagger them somehow. You know, like I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, it's a good system. It's like a reoccurring theme because like it's not revolutionary for the game by any means, but it's like solid.
I know, like a way I like to compare is you said Battlefield. Didn't even know about that. However, I compared it to another recent zombie game that came out, Back 4 Blood.
Oh yeah, I didn't play that one.
That system is exactly the same. However, see, in this way, this is how I feel like Back 4 Blood failed, whereas this one succeeded, is playing progressed you to be able to just unlock cards, just from leveling. Or from killing some zombies, even.
And you could also find them, too, right?
Yep, yeah, just from, like, searching some houses, they'd be sitting around. Whereas Back 4 Blood, not only did you have to play tons of hours to unlock and level up certain choices, to then you have to purchase them.
Right.
Then you get a select limit. This is why I thought Dead Island was much better in this case, is you just got cards. And then as you progressed, you could carry more. Some cards that are like, oh, I don't want this card at all. Then you just put on a much better card.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, outside of the card system, you also had the whole blueprint system, like crafting weapons with the different mods. You have mods you could attach to weapons, which was kind of neat.
I was a little disappointed with the blueprints on one aspect, is that typically you start out, you get the lower rarity blueprints. And then as you progress, you get these higher rarities. Now, the higher rarities for this one were like mutated forms where they did really cool things. However, then you had the original mods. Like, there's still a green mod or a blue mod that just gives you damage increase.
I used it on every weapon.
I used it on every weapon, but it was always blue.
Yeah.
They never give you a superior.
And that, I don't know if it's just like we didn't find the super special upgrade or something. I don't know. It's totally possible, but...
Because typically you would think, because for the gun ones, there's one that reload is increased. I never find anything that does more reloading speed other than like a combo of stuff.
Yeah. You definitely get some stuff.
And I feel like that's kind of how they did it, is by, instead of just giving you a flat reload buff, you have to kill a zombie, then you get a reload buff.
Yeah.
And it stacks. So I feel like that's kind of what they did, is they don't give you the exact one multiple times. That's just better. They give you something similar, but there's just more to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still had a lot of fun with it. Because, I mean, later on in the game, especially when you actually get access to, like, those mutated mods, there was one sword I got from a side quest that did electrical damage, but it had its own ability where, like, if you hit enough times to apply a status effect, it would cause like an explosion of that status effect, and my whole screen would just look like Palpatine was firing off at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Honestly, it is pretty cool towards the end, because there's some really cool ones. Like, I got one that just says applying a status effect will explode that status effect.
Yeah.
So, and I had like tons of different weapons. This was a card too, not even a blueprint. And I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
But of course, I got it at the end of the game, so I didn't get to use it as much.
And I mean, there is like tying into the end game itself. Like you can certainly keep playing because like there's quests you can do. You can go looking for the legendary weapons. I think I only had 2. Like you get one for beating the game, and then I found another one from a side quest. I definitely didn't do a ton of end game stuff because
I need to do more for sure.
Star Wars came out, and but yeah, it's an overall solid system. And then speaking more on gameplay, we can talk about the enemies themselves. Because the enemy variety, I feel like, it was pretty good.
There's a lot.
You get like 3 different classes of like standard zombie, where you have like a walker, a shambler, or whatever.
The shamblers are funny.
And then it gradually escalates. You get like the big chungus bro zombies. You got the beefy bro zombies.
Damn bodybuilders.
Yeah, the bodybuilder zombies. That was a fun side
That
quest
was
too.
a fun
When you had to go
quest.
find the 2 bodybuilders. So yeah, and you get I hated the screamer. They were annoying, but
That's why you just throw the water soaker at them. They shut right up.
yeah, they weren't actually. No, the screamer's not as bad as the one that you get the boss fight for, like the clown one initially.
Yeah, the ripper ones or whatever.
But yeah, pretty good enemy variety. It's for a zombie game, it's like expected. You don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again, but they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, they had a lot of good enemies to go through and fight. I actually liked how they had like typical worker zombies that do their job,
Yeah.
And there was one that's like an electrician,
Right.
and he explodes electricity just from because it was something he was doing in his job or something.
And that's a cool aspect too. It's by no means original because you see games do this all the time, but enemies that have their own like elemental status ability are immune to that same type. So like you can't take your fire sword and try and kill a fire enemy. You have to switch it up, which is good for diversifying the combat. And like other games have done it, like God of War did it with its overshield system or whatever, but still a nice touch to like force you to have some weapon variety. And it's good.
It was good. I enjoyed the enemies. They were fun.
The boss fights were a little disappointing for me though.
They're not really hard or anything.
Yeah, and I mean, every boss fight is just a zombie type you can find in the wild, but basically with a name.
Yeah.
Probably the only one that stood out to me was like the bride zombie one that you get in the hotel.
He was definitely the specialist.
But yeah, so boss fight's a little disappointing. Even the final boss fight is just another zombie you fight.
You've already fought before.
Yeah, a little disappointing, but it's whatever. And then another big part of the game itself is the co-op. It is a co-op game. You can play it by yourself or up to 2 other friends, I think, 3-player co-op. Me and Jeremiah played it off and on co-op, but...
Then he just kind of stopped playing with me, and I had to play it by myself.
No.
I was like, I'm going to wait for Dylan to play, and then he's just over there playing it.
You played without me, too.
But then I could catch up with you.
Because I remember when we started the second co-op session, you were farther ahead than I was.
Only a little bit, but I was ready to play still.
Yeah. But the co-op system itself is actually done pretty well.
It was done really well.
It's set up to where, like, say Jeremiah is farther ahead than me, but... So, like, I wouldn't be able to join him because I have to progress my story, but he can join me, progress my story, and then if we hit a point where we're caught up to his, it'll keep progressing his even in my session. Yeah. So that is a very nice touch because it makes it to where if you want to play by yourself, you're not forced to really, like, replay stuff. Like, there is a little bit of replay if you're joining someone who's farther behind than you, but at least it gives you that option to keep progressing it.
You still get to progress yourself too, because like even when you were a lower level, you were further behind, my stuff still dropped at my level. I was getting stuff that was worth keeping. It wasn't dropping like useless items and stuff, and I thought that was really nice too.
Right. Yeah, it's a really good way to handle a co-op system, and hopefully other games will kind of look at that and keep that as a standard, but it's good. I really like it. And then by far my favorite system in the game, probably the biggest selling point for me on this one, is its flesh system. And this is more for like the people that are into the zombie gore, and like it's a really solid system where you can literally like layer by layer just hit these zombies and every impact shows. Kind of similar to Dead Space's system where like you would shoot off layers of skin and get to the bone. It wasn't like one shot removes a limb, and that's kind of what this one's going for, but I think much more detailed.
They were very spongy.
Yeah, it's just like this is super weird, and people will probably think I'm a weirdo for saying it, but there's times I'd sit there for like 10 minutes just hitting the same zombie over and over again to see like how much you could really tear them apart.
They actually had some really good visuals. Like my first experience with stuff like that was like Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
That's where like I know like a lot of people talked about how like shooting a demon and it's like the flesh comes off and you see the bone. And I'll admit it looked graphically very good. And then for Dead Island 2, I thought they did such a good job. I always thought it was funny like you could hit the head and like an eye would be dangling.
It's very detailed and graphic.
Yeah.
Like, you can like hit him right on the head with a charged attack, and like you'll see the skull fracture and the brain kind of stick in there, and you can keep hitting it and doing a lot of damage. It's really messed up.
You could get like a jaw to get. You can't like you couldn't really knock pieces off, like maybe a limb.
Yeah.
But like, cause like the one thing, like I said, like you could hit like a jaw.
Yeah.
And the jaw will break, but it doesn't fall off.
I don't remember. I feel like I hit a jaw clean off at least once, but I don't quite remember. I do remember there was
maybe if they die from it, they can, but they won't walk around with it off.
There was one moment where I had the final weapon you get for beating the game, and I was just testing it out. And one of the big bodybuilder zombies was coming after me, and I charged an attack on his right arm, and his right arm like broke off at the bone, and it was like dangling by the bone. And then I did the same to his other arm. He's like running at me with his two arms dangling, and I'm yeah, it's just a really good system. It's like extremely detailed, and would be really cool to see other games that have that kind of melee combat, maybe kind of draw from that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything from gameplay, unless there was anything else you wanted to add on that side.
Gameplay wise, that's pretty much covered all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, just good to hit on to audio, visual, and performance.
And not a lot to say on this one. This is another one where it ropes in with just being fairly average. Like visually, the game does look good. There are some like NPCs that don't look as good as others.
Yeah.
Graphically, but you know the environments look good, they're detailed graphically. It's a vibrant game, which helps it to look good, so it has the colors going for it. At least it's not like that's where Dying Light for me isn't as strong, because a lot of the environments in that game can get kind of samey.
Oh yeah, no, the environment wise for Dying Light can be very identical.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, again, like even for the first one, it was still very like shack houses, and like the roads were very kind of broken and whatnot.
Yeah, so it has that going for it in this game. Like it visually is appealing, but
I very felt like it was like a good arcade visual, because like such bright colors, the blue from the lightning, the orange fire color. You've got the green for the caustic. You get a little bit of blood that kind of trickles off the zombie if you get them to bleed.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like, the most visually impressive thing is still just the flesh system.
I actually really enjoyed, like, that's why I enjoyed Caustic so much, because it just, like, the melting of the body looked so, like, visually appealing, you know? It looked really well done.
Right. So, yeah, just visually, like, it looks solid, environments look good, and there are, like, day and nighttime cycles, and both look perfectly fine. The undead looked pretty great, and the NPC characters were a little hit and miss. But yeah, performance-wise, I didn't have any issues. Like, it performed fine. Frame rate, didn't have any crashes.
Yeah, no, I had zero problems. I had one funny performance.
Yeah.
Which was a limb. I, like, killed a bunch of zombies, and then I'm, like, searching for loot and stuff. All of a sudden, I look up, and I see an arm just sitting up. It's spinning in a circle. It's just spinning around.
Yeah.
And it was just really funny because it's just the bottom portion of the arm from the hand to the elbow, and it's just spinning in a circle in like a decently speed. And I'm looking at that, and all of a sudden I'm just like, you spin. And then it happened a second time later, but this time it was a foot. It's just wee.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything even glitch-wise. Not that I can remember anyways, but yeah, it performs just fine. You know, it does its job. But with that, we can probably push on to the final verdict. What I noted down, just overall, Dead Island 2, is it's a fairly average zombie game, but it does have some elements that make it stand out, such as the flesh system. It does little else to separate itself from other titles competing in the genre, though. Like, I would definitely not say it's my favorite zombie game. But despite that, there's a lot of fun to be had with it. You know, it's really solid co-op system. And if you enjoyed the original and other similar titles, like if you're a fan of the first Dead Island, Dying Light 1 or 2, like it's fits right in with it.
You'll definitely enjoy it. If you enjoy those games, you can definitely enjoy this one. It's fun. You don't have to take it as serious. It's just kind of fun to run through, play with a friend. Even by yourself, it's fun to just go hack at some zombies.
Right. But yeah, with that, like my final score, it's either a 7 or a 7.5. I really don't like giving games decimal scores, so I'll probably stick with a 7 on it. But even despite that, like considering this game was in development for like over 10 years, it's a miracle the game even came out. And it's a bigger miracle that it's actually like a pretty good game.
They did really good job.
So yeah, for me, probably a 7 out of 10. I do really enjoy it. Like, even though that's a lower end score, that's really just because of some of the story stuff and like the disappointment with the boss fights. But yeah, still really solid.
For me, I am giving it an 8 score because like I knew what I was going into. I played a lot of the first one. I knew what to expect. I enjoyed what I expected though. Like I wasn't let down. It ran really well. There was no flaws, no bug glitches that like broke my game or anything.
Yeah.
And it worked. I thought they did such a good job. Like I loved the environments, how much they added to the game. The weapons look really good and appealing. So yeah, I feel like it deserves at least an 8. Just for the amount of fun that you can put into it. It's something you can go back to and do again on a different character or continue your new game plus.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We can do like a really brief spoiler discussion. There isn't really a ton to talk about with this one.
There's only one thing I kind of want to bring up spoiler-wise.
So spoilers ahead if you haven't played the game and if you care. If not, it's really not super crazy.
Yep.
But so what did you want to bring up?
It's not really a huge spoiler, but I guess it's kind of like endgame and then your zombie mode.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, for me, I want to talk about, like, zombie mode first.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't expect that. I was not expecting a zombie mode a part of the game and being such a, like, large part that it's, like, super obtainable.
Right.
And, like, for me, like, this is kind of towards, like, mid to end game. I got cards. We didn't even touch on part of the abilities is the autophage part.
Yeah.
Which is you have benefits to your zombie mode, fury mode, but you have some negative effects. For my character, they are different for everybody. My autophage had like no negative effects whatsoever. Yeah. And I actually got a bunch of cards that affected my fury mode. Right. I could activate it if the bar was half full. Once I activated it, all my attacks exploded on enemies on hit. And then because I had level 3 autophage, one main hit because of a card would heal me full and give me like a ton of fury back. So I'm just like constantly spamming this mode whenever I felt like it, and it was so much fun.
See, I felt like I was fairly conservative with how often I used it. I don't know if it's just my mentality on like save this for when you really need it, but I guess I never found myself like really needing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I always just thought it was so much fun. Like it shredded the rippers, the brutes, the fat dudes, the spitters, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Because like it was just so strong, and I thought it was so much fun. It was such an unexpected like part of the game. I wasn't really expecting to have so much fun. Not only do you just get like normal zombie swing attacks, like melee attacks, but there are 3 abilities you can use that represent the other zombies, special zombies. You can smash the ground like a brute. And you can spit people. My favorite, I actually just love the scream because it applied weakness. And my favorite thing to do is if a screamer's screaming at me, I'd stagger them, turn it on, and then I just scream at them. It's like, see, how do you like me?
Like
Scream dead.
the meme with the 2 girls at the table and the cat. Yeah, and the way that whole zombie mode ties into the story is kind of interesting because, like, at first the game's telling you you're immune.
Yep.
But then it kind of flips it to say you're more like a evolutionized
you're an evolutionized.
And this was kind of stupid because they're like, no, you meet this, like, lady that's superpower lady at some point in the story that, like, hints at what you are, and she's kind of played as, like, the antagonist, but...
So, and, like, supposedly they are... what they called the Newman.
Yeah. Stupid name.
Yeah. But then you have the autophage. Mm-hmm. Now, technically, we're both.
Yeah.
Autophage and Newman are 2 different types of mutation. Mm-hmm. And we are both. And that's why the autophage, we're losing control. That's why we're turning. But then you have the Newman side, which is what allows us, like, the immunity, the increased like strength and whatnot that it gives us. And supposedly, because again, this is like the big spoiler here, is that we don't take the cure for the autophage. So now we could possibly be mutating further in the like new DLCs and stuff.
Well, I feel like the really big aspect that's spoiler wise, so you remember you deal with the doctor and he's like, you're immune, we can use you to make a cure, but then you find out he actually was the one who set the outbreak loose in LA. And what was his... So that you find out that he already knew the, like, weird superpower lady. But he basically started the outbreak, I think, with the intent to try and cure it and or do the whole evolution thing.
He basically was saying that the virus was a part of the human. That autophage was a part of it. And that everybody was going to succumb to it regardless. And that's actually what the virus is the autophage is all the zombies we're seeing.
Yeah.
That's the autophage.
And that's where the story kind of lost me, because it's like they're trying to do some huge reveal, like, so becoming a zombie is in our genome. It's like, we're basically on a timer. And I'm like, I don't know. It was a little bit over the top for me, but it is also like a super campy game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's beyond that whole aspect. There's not really a ton to get into with spoilers.
Pretty much. Those were kind of like the main things. It's like the end game is like you just get better cards that give you way better abilities, just like the one that allows you to affect the elements and make them explode.
Yeah.
Like.
And the ending itself is something that probably some people won't like because it is pretty abrupt.
Yeah.
You basically get the sequence where you're trying to find the doctor and deal with that before you guys escape in a helicopter. And then, your friends end up escaping, but you stay behind with the Newman people. And it just kind of leaves a sense that something will go on from there, probably through DLC. So... it is abrupt, not the best ending in the world, but I think people really go to this game just for the gameplay. So, I mean, I didn't really care, but...
Pretty much. I enjoyed it for what it was.
But yeah, 7 out of 10 and an 8 out of 10, not bad at all. So if you are a fan of the original game, definitely check it out. It's... for as long as it took for this game to come out, I'm surprised it's as good as it is. So definitely worth it if you're interested. With that, we will have probably some more reviews on the horizon. We're playing through Star Wars Jedi Survivor. There's some new games coming out, such as Zelda. Movies always coming out, and we're hopefully planning to get some more discussion episodes in as well. So, with that being said, if you guys made it to this point in the episode, we just want to thank you for listening. If you want to support us on social media, we are on Twitter and Instagram if you check the description on this episode. We're also on YouTube if you want to watch our content there. It's just our normal episode, just going there if you're not interested in a podcasting platform. And with that, we hope to catch you guys in the next episode and hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. California. Do, 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 do.